Blog Talk Radio.
Read it. Verse 12. Amos chapter 8, verse 12. And they shall wander from sea to sea. And they shall wander from sea to sea. That means you're going from this place to this place. Well, let me go over here. Oh, Islam, I don't know. I don't like that. Well, let me go over to the Christian church. Oh, I don't know. Well, maybe let me go into Hinduism. Well, I don't know. I don't like this church because this preacher said this. I don't like this church because this preacher said that. Let me tell you, if you were in the Word, it wouldn't matter what the preacher would say. If you was in the Word, you'll be able to see over what he's teaching. But you're going from sea to sea, all over the place. Read. Amos chapter 8, verse 12. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. Go ahead. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Most High, and shall not find it. You're going to wish one day you was able to sit in your cushy house and cut on your computer and see the word of the Most High. You're going to long for that time. You're going to wish you had that opportunity. Soon reading the Bible is going to be against the law of the earth. Soon. They're moving everyone into a new age movement. And the only thing you can believe in is yourself. And you are being programmed. That's going to be the belief system. Yourself. That's the new age movement. How grim and dark the government of this earth is. That all of them are in league and are in bed with Satan. That's the truth. Not one of them are with the Most High. Why? Because this kingdom was given into the hand of Satan. Job 9 and 24 tells you the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. So in order for you to rule in this government, you must go to Satan to get your power. He tried to offer it to Christ. Christ denied it. But who took it? All the governments in this earth who will soon pay. They live lavishly in this earth off of the bones, blood, sweat, and tears of the children of Israel. Yes, but now they have to pay. It's time. All these wars in the earth are culminating. They're leading to their own demise. And we're just the people with no weapons. This is our weapon. The only thing we have is this, Christ, in the name of the Most High, and we'll win.
And we are back right here on Blog Talk Radio. Shalom, Israel, and everyone else, good evening, good afternoon, good morning to you and yours, wherever you are on this world's wide web. You are listening to Let's Talk, brought to you by the Men Empowered Organization on the Blog Talk Radio Network at blogtalkradio.com. My name is Brother Malachi. I am your host and founder for another edition of Let's Talk right here on Blog Talk Radio. We are getting ready to do the Book of Jasher. Jasher chapter 78 through 80 tonight. And I want to apologize for not being here with you tomorrow. Yesterday, some things came up. But we are here tonight, and we will be here on Wednesday, Thursday, and Sabbath Friday. Today is right before midnight. Today is November the 6th, 2013. And we're getting ready to do the Book of Jasher, chapters 78 and 80. On Monday, we had a visitor in the chat room, and I believe he was talking a little bit of Egyptology, and he does not know that Noah's 3 sons were black, as well as Noah himself and their daughters. So just want to let him know, to set the record straight. Adam was black. Eve was black. And this is not a race thing. It is just what it is. It is the absolute knowledge and truth. So he's jumping on speaking of our guest we had on Monday, he was jumping in when this train has already been running 30 miles and still have a few miles left. We've already discussed the information that he brought forth. We do know that the Egyptians came from Ham's son, and we also know and found out that Shem is the father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in that particular bloodline. We also know about the Japhetic people, which we will be discussing coming up at a later date. But we want to talk about the seed of promise, and that is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And tonight we will discuss the Book of Jasher and see how this plays out in chapter 78 through chapter 80. Like to also let you know, the Book of Jasher, you may be brand new again to what we are discussing. The Book of Jasher mentioned in Joshua chapter 10 verse 13 and 2 Samuel chapter 1 verse 18. These are the references of the Book of Jasher. So why was the Book of Jasher deleted or not talked about in today's churches, your Christian church today? Well, the children of Israel went into darkness around the transatlantic slave trade. Yes, that started in the nation of Africa, but do you know that Africa was not named after a black man? So let the record get straight. Africa was named after a Roman general. You know how they always talk about when they discover something, as I brilliantly state how Malcolm X says, how can you discover something when it's already been discovered? That's like me putting my stamp of approval, my name, on a television set and say, I discovered TV. Wow. That can be funny if it wasn't so absurd. So, who discovered America? Well, also in crime scene investigation coming up November the 21st, when we start this new series back up again, we will look into the mystery of why they took out 14 other books. They call it the Apocrypha books. And in 2nd Esdras, chapter 13, verse 40 through 43, we see the discovery of what they call now America, North America, and South America. This will let you know that Christopher Columbus picked up the 1611 edition of the Bible and read 2nd Esdras and found out how to travel to the America. And at that time, the northern tribe named it Osiric, another name of the America. We will look into that. We'll be right back with the Book of Jasher 78 and through 80.
shouldn't say. Yeah. Sometimes I do things I shouldn't do. Yeah. Some places I shouldn't know when I win anyway. So I need you to please forgive me. Take me, Lord. Nothing can be done without you.
And from Detroit, Motor City, Jessica Clemens and her CD Gotta Have. All right, we are back right here at Let's Talk, brought to you by the Men Empowered Organization, right here on Blog Talk Radio. Our office number here is 504-484-9388 or 601-297-2927 if you ever need to reach us when we are off. Just like to say again, if you have any questions or comment at any time, press 1 on your phone. Also, you can reach us here at our email address is menempoweredtoprosper@yahoo.com. For those of you all who are in the chat room, you can go ahead and put your question or comment up, and we will relay that to our audience that is listening to us on the phone as well as online. So shalom to all the people of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel. Not going to go over who those people are, but we've been discussing who they are for a long, long time. The 12 tribes of Israel. For more information on them, you can find the information listed in the Bible, your King James Bible, which is Genesis chapter 49. Jasher chapter 78. Jasher chapter 78. At that time died Baal, Canaan, son of Akbor, king of Edom, and was buried in his house in the land of Edom. We know who Edom is. Edom is the descendants of Esau, or short Esau's kingdom, Edom. Verse 2, and you know who Esau is. I'm not going to go here and rehearse this over and over again, but you know who they are. Verse 2, and after the death of the children of Esau, sent to the land of Edom, and took from there a man who was Edom, whose name was Hadad, and they made him king over them in the place of Baal, Canaan, their king. Verse 3, and Hadad reigned over the children of Edom 48 years. Verse 4, And when he reigned, he resolved to fight against the children of Moab, to bring them under the power of the children of Esau as they were before. But he was not able, because the children of Moab heard this thing, and they rose up and hastened to elect a king over them from amongst their brethren. Verse 5. And they after it gathered together and sent to the children of Ammon, their brethren, to fight against Hadad, king of Edom. And verse 6, and Hadad heard the things which the children of Moab had done, and was greatly afraid of them, and refrained from fighting against them. Verse 7, in those days Moses, the son of Amram in Midian, took Zipporah, the daughter of Reuel the Midianite, for a wife. Verse 8, and Zipporah walked in the ways of the daughters of Jacob. I repeat that again. Now, she was not from that gene pool there, but she knew about all the righteous ones. Okay? Now, verse 8 again. And Zipporah walked in the ways of the daughters of, short of the righteousness of Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah. Verse 9. And Zipporah concerned and bare a son, and called his name Gershon. For he said, I was a stranger in a foreign land, but he circumcised not his foreskin at the command of Reuel, his father-in-law. Now you see, Zipporah, she was attending to Moses while Moses was in prison for 10 years. So she learned the ways of the Most High from her husband, soon-to-be husband, while he was in jail. You see how she learned that. So the Most High had nothing against Zipporah, Moses' wife. And you notice the drama when Moses got all the children of Israel out of captivity in Egypt, and here Moses' sister was talking about his in-law. And so the Most High God got upset with that and put leprosy on her for that. Touch not the anointed. Let me go on. That's another story. All right. So we finished up with verse 9. Verse 10. And she conceived again and bare a son, but circumcised his foreskin, and called him Eliezer. For Moses said, because the God of my fathers was my help, and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh. Now, you know, all these names, when they name you in Hebrew, everything has a meaning to it. And speaking of names, on CSI, one of the things that we're going to be discussing on CSI coming soon is the names of the Most High as well as the names of Christ. Remember, in the name of Christ, this name shall be above all names. So we're going to identify is his name. You know, before I got into the truth, I'm taking a side trip real quick. Before I got into the truth, I asked the question and I pondered on it, and I was looking at it and I said to myself, how can, and you all heard me reading these Hebrew names, these names that I can hardly pronounce. You all, excuse me, you all hear me the way I'm tearing the English language up just trying to read this stuff. But how can you have these names, and even in the New Testament, as well as in the Old Testament mostly, how can you have a Hebrew name that you cannot pronounce? You even have to break it down sometimes into syllables to pronounce it, or to get some kind of pronunciation out right. How can you have these names that you cannot even discuss And in the New Testament, it starts out with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And we all know those are English names. But what are the Hebrew names? What are the true names? Well, a sidebar, and this is a commercial. You need to stay tuned for CSI, Crime Scene Investigation. And we will go and look into of the name changing in the book that we call the Bible. Bible. Not just any Bible, the King James Bible. Getting back to the lesson. Verse 11, and Pharaoh, king of Egypt, greatly increased the labor of the children of Israel in those days, and continued to make his yoke heavier upon the children of Israel. There's that yoke again. Happened in the old days in Egypt, and also happened in the old days right here in America, where the children of Israel were slaves. Yes. What is he talking about? The children of Israel, slaves in America. Glad you asked. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68, and it will give you a clue. It says you shall go into Egypt again. And when it says Egypt again, it means there was a first time, so it had to be a second time in order for it to be again. King James knew what he was doing when he had the Bible translated from the original text of Hebrew into English. Moving on. I got to stay on point. Verse 12, and he ordered a proclamation. Here he goes again. This Pharaoh is something else. Labor and bondage for the children. And Monday night, it really almost brought tears to my eyes as I was reading how the children were stuffed into that pyramid because that particular parent didn't do the correct amount of labor to get the job done to build Pharaoh's pyramid. Sad. Verse 12, and he ordered a proclamation, here he goes again, like I said before, to be made in Egypt, saying, give no more straw to the people to make bricks with, let them go and gather themselves straw as they can find it. Pharaoh dishing out orders like, Verse 13, also the tale of bricks which they shall make, let them give each day, and diminish nothing from them, for they are idle in their work. Verse 14, and the children of Israel heard this, and they mourned and sighed, and they cried unto the Most High on account of the bitterness of their souls. Verse 15, and the Most High heard the cries of the children of Israel, and saw the oppression with which the Egyptians oppressed them. Verse 16, and the Most High was jealous of his people and his inheritance, and heard their voices, and he resolved to take them out of the affliction, the land of Canaan, for a possession. Jasher chapter 79, beginning with verse 1. And in those days Moses was feeding the flock of Reuel, the Midianite. Oh, here we go. We listen to have a close encounter of the Most High God. Moses is fixing to get ready to go to the mountaintop. Verse 2, and it came to pass one day that a kid of goats strayed from the flock, and Moses pursued it, and it came to the mountain of God to Pharoah. And when he came to Pharoah, the Most High appeared there unto him in the bush. And he found the bush burning with fire, but the fire had no power over the bush to consume it. Verse 4, and Moses was greatly astonished at this sight, wherefore the bush was not consumed. And he approached to see this mighty thing. And the Most High called unto Moses out of the fire and commanded him to go down to Egypt, to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to send the children of Israel from his service. Verse 5, and the Most High said unto Moses, go, all those men who sought thy life are dead. Now we know why he took this long to get back to Egypt. And thou shalt speak unto Pharaoh to send forth the children of Israel from his land. Now, Pharaoh has been making all these proclamations and threatening and carrying out judgment on the children of Israel. Now, it is the Most High God's time to make proclamations to Egypt to let the people of Israel go. And you know why he did this? Because he had a covenant with Israel and not with Egypt. All praises to the Most High for his covenant and a covenant keeper. Verse 6, and the Most High showed him to do signs and wonders in Egypt before the eyes of Pharaoh and the eyes of his subjects, in order that they might believe that the Most High had sent him. Verse 7, and Moses hearkened to all that the Most High had commanded him, and he returned to his father-in-law and told him the thing. And Reuel said to him, go in peace. Verse 8, and Moses rose up to go to Egypt, and he took his wife and sons with him. Excuse me. Now that I didn't know, that he took his sons with them. And he was at an inn in the road, and an angel of the Most High God came down and sought an occasion against him. Verse 9, and he wished to kill him on account of his firstborn son, because he had not circumcised him, and had transgressed the covenant which the Most High had made with Abraham. Verse 10, for Moses had hearkened to the words of his father-in-law, which he had spoken to him, not to circumcise his firstborn son. Therefore he circumcised him not. Verse 11, and Zipporah saw the angel of the Lord seeking an occasion against Moses, and she knew that this thing was owing to his not having circumcised her son Gershon. Verse 12, and Zipporah hastened and took of the sharp rock stone that were there, and she circumcised her son and delivered her husband and her son from the hand of the angel of the Lord. That's something to think about. Here you are, well, let's just say you're sleeping. All of a sudden, your mom comes in and grabs your penis and pulls the skin with a stone and circumcise you in the middle of the night. That's just something to think about. I'm just it doesn't say that, but it just says that she circumcised him. And imagine what was going through the mind of her son. We'll have to look at that with CSI. Verse 13, and for those of you all who do not know, CSI means crime scene investigation, but that is not a crime, but is a crime against the Most High to not be circumcised. So we'll look into that on crime scene investigation. Verse 13, and Aaron and the son of Amram, the brother of Moses, was in Egypt walking at the riverside on that day. Verse 14, and the Most High appeared to him in that place, and he said to him, go now toward Moses in the wilderness, and he went and met him in the mountain of God, and he kissed him. Verse 15, and Aaron lifted up his eyes and saw Zipporah, the wife of Moses, and her children. And he said unto Moses, who are these unto thee? 16, and Moses said unto him, they are my wife and sons, which the Most High gave to me in Midian. And the thing grieved Aaron on account of the woman and her children. Verse 17, and Aaron said to Moses, send away the woman and her children, that they may go to her father's house. And Moses hearkened to the words of Aaron and did so. Verse 18, and Zipporah returned with her children, and they went to the house of Reuel, and remained there until the time arrived when the Most High had visited his people and brought them forth from Egypt from the hand of Pharaoh. Verse 19, and Moses and Aaron came to the community of the children of Israel, and they spoke to them all the words of the Most High, and the people rejoiced, and exceedingly great rejoicing. Verse 20, and Moses and Aaron rose up early on the next day, and they went to the house of Pharaoh, and they took in their hand the stick of the Most High. Verse 21, and we also saw that no one could pull this stick out of the ground all those years except for Moses. Verse 21, and when they came to the king's gate, 2 young lions were confirmed there were with iron instruments, and no person went out or came in front before them, unless those whom the king ordered to come. When the conjurer came and withdrew the lions by their inclinations, and this brought them, and Moses hastened and lifted up the stick upon the lions, and he loosened them, and Moses and Aaron came into the house, into the king's house, that is. Verse 23, and the lions also came with them in joy, and they followed them and rejoiced as a dog rejoiced over his masters when he comes from the field. Now, he did say lions. He did say lions. Here comes the lions. Wow. Verse 24, and when Pharaoh saw this thing, he was astonished at it, and he was greatly terrified at the report, for their appearance was like he appeared of the children of the Most High. Verse 25, and we're going to take a break right after this verse, and we're going to take a music break. And Pharaoh said to Moses, what do you require? And they answered him, saying, the Most High God of the Hebrews has sent us to thee, to say, send forth my people that they may serve me. And we will be right back after a music break. Let me ask you this. Children of Israel, do you know who you are? Well, I know who I am, and knowing who you are. I say, I know who you are. Yeah, I say, I know who you are. on.
We stiff necked, we wild, we on the corner, wildin' out. We ignorant, we proud, rebellious.
I know who you are, boy, you need some help. Open your mind and free yourself. Truth and knowledge overpowers wealth. Put education on the shelf and take a second look and see which route you took. Fall in love with a bunch of crooks and forget you're the children of that book. To the enemies they told you, made you believe anything they told you, and left you with two decisions. Either choose death or choose religion. But you fell off Jacob's ladder and chose to listen to the master. Got caught in the devil's rapture. Now your life is a whole disaster.
Yeah, I said, I know who you are, I know who you are, and I know where you're going. We stiff-necked, we wild, we on the corner, wildin' out. We ignorant, we proud, rebellious, I style.
We're the only ones can't see it. Got the truth but don't believe it. Cursed with being disobedient. The days enslaved in Egypt. Then Moses said, let my people go. Still we act like we ain't know who was our father. We didn't even bother to listen. And not to mention we blatantly worship others. We went from one to another. We threw stones at our brothers. When they was trying to just bring us back to the truth, there's nothing wrong with that. Like Stephanos in the Book of Jasher. All he did was take it back.
Yeah, I said, I know who you are, I know who you are, and I know where you're going. We stiff-necked, we wild, we on the corner, wildin' out. We ignorant, we proud, rebellious, I style.
I know the keepers of the law were standing tall, staying righteous above them all. What's the call, coach? The other teams fit with many men that's lost hope, cause they don't know the identity, but I do, so they envy me. Cause you're a nation of people that's so rebellious, accusers of your brother. When he speaks the truth you get jealous, but I stay one accord with all my righteous fellas, cause we know who we are, there's nothing else that you can tell us. Nothing.
Yeah, I said, I know who you are, I know who you are, and I know where you're going. Yeah, I said, I know who you are, I know who you are, and I know where you're going. Stiff-necked, we wild, we on the corner, wildin' out. We ignorant, we proud, rebellious, I style. To be like them, we try, our own culture we deny. So unaware, we blind, we searching for a sign. I know who you are, 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 who you are, I know who you are, I know who you are.
And we are back. It's the music of Hen featuring Uriah from the CD Appetizer. We are back with Jasher chapter 77, verse 26. 77, verse 26. And when Pharaoh heard their words, he was greatly terrified before them, and he said to them, "Go today and come back to me tomorrow." And they did according to the word of the king. Verse 27, and when they had gone, Pharaoh sent for Balaam the magician, and to Jannes and Jambres his son, and to all the magicians and conjurers and counselors which belonged to the king, and they all came and sat before the king. Verse 28, and the king told them all the words which Moses and his brother Aaron had spoken to him. And the magician said to the king, "But how came the men to thee on account of the lions which were confined?" 29. And the king said, "Because they lifted up their rods against the lions and loosed them and came to me, and the lions also rejoiced to them as a dog rejoiced to meet his master." You just got a glimpse of nature now being calm among men. This is what's going to be happening in the arena when the animals go from beasts back to pets in the new millennium. Verse 30, and Balaam the son of Beor the magician answered the king, saying, "These are none else than magicians like ourselves." Verse 31, "Now therefore send for them, and let them come, and we will try them." And the king did so. Verse 32, and in the morning Pharaoh sent for Moses and Aaron to come before the king, and they took the rod of God and came to the king and spoke to him, saying, "Thus saith the Lord God of the Hebrews, send my people that they may serve me." Verse 34, and the king said to them, "But who will believe you that you are the messengers of God, and that you come to me by his orders?" Verse 35, now therefore give a wonder or sign in this matter, and then the words which you speak will be believed. Verse 36, and Aaron hastened and threw the rod out of his hand before Pharaoh and before his servant, and the rod turned into a serpent. 37, and the sorcerers saw this, and they came each man his rod upon the ground, and they became serpents. Verse 38, and the serpents of Aaron's rod lifted up his head and opened his mouth to swallow the rods of the magicians. Verse 39, and Belial the magician answered and said, "This thing has been from the days of old, that a serpent should swallow his fellow, and that living things devour each other." Verse 40, now therefore restore it to a rod as it was first, and we will also restore our rods as they were at first. And if the rod shall swallow our rods, then shall we know that the Spirit of the Most High God is in thee. And if not, thou art only an artificial like unto ourselves. Verse 41, and Aaron hastened and stretched forth his hand and caught hold of the serpent's tail, and it became a rod in his eyes. And the sorcerers did the like with their rods, and they got hold each man of the tail of the serpent, and they became rods as a first. Verse 42, and when they were restored to rods, the rods of Aaron swallowed up their rods. 43. And when the king saw this thing, he ordered the book of records that relate to the king of Egypt to be brought, and they of records, the chronicles of the kings of Egypt, in which all the idols of Egypt were inscribed. For these thoughts of finding therein the name of Jehovah, but they found it not. Now, we're going to look into the names of the Most High as well as the names of the Messiah. We're going to see, is there any truth to this comment that we do not have the right names of the Most High as well as the names of Christ. But we will see on crime scene investigation, identity theft. Verse 44, and Pharaoh said to Moses and Aaron, behold, I have not found the name of your God written in of the book of Egypt. All right. And his name I know not. Verse 45, and the counselors and wise men answered the king, we have heard that the God of the Hebrews is a son of the wise, the son of ancient kings. Verse 46, and Pharaoh turned to Moses and Aaron and said to them, I know not the Lord whom you have declared, neither will I send his people. Verse 47, and they answered and said to the king, the Lord God of gods is his name, and he proclaimed his name over us from the days of our ancestors, and sent us, saying, go to the Pharaoh and say unto him, send my people that they may serve me. Verse, now therefore send us that we may take a journey for 3 days in the wilderness, and there may sacrifice to him. For from the days of your going down to Egypt, he has not taken from our hands either burnt offerings, oblation, and sacrifice. And if thou wilt not send us, his anger will be kindled against thee, and he will make smite Egypt either with the plague or with the sword. Verse 49, and Pharaoh said to them, tell me now his power and his might. And they said to him, he created the heavens and the earth, the seas and their fishes. He formed the light, created the darkness, and caused rain upon the earth, and watered it, and made and made the herbage and grass to sprout. He created man and beast, and the animals of the forest, the birds of the air, and the fish of the sea. And by his mouth they live and die. Verse 50, surely he has created thee in thy mother's womb, and put into the breath of life, and reared thee, and placed thee upon royal throne of Egypt. And he will take thy breath and about from thee, return thee to the ground whence thou wast taken. Verse 51, and the anger of the king was kindled at all their swords. And he said to them, but who amongst all the gods of nations can do this? My river is my own, and I have made it for myself. Verse 52, and he drove them from him, and he ordered the labor upon Israel to be more severe than it was yesterday and before. Verse 53. And Moses and Aaron went out from the king's presence, and they saw the children of Israel in an evil condition, for the taskmasters had made their labor exceedingly heavy. And Moses returned to the Most High and said, Why hast thou ill-treated thy people? For since I came to speak to Pharaoh, what thou didst send me for he has exceedingly ill used the children of Israel. 55. And the Lord said to Moses, Behold, thou wilt see that with an outstretched hand and heavy plagues Pharaoh will send the children of Israel from the land. Verse 56. And Moses and Aaron dwelt among their brethren, the children of Israel in Egypt. And verse 37. And as far the children of Israel, the Egyptians embittered their lives with the heavy work which they imposed upon them. Now we are entering chapter 80, will be our last of the evening, and we will get back. We will probably go into overtime just a few minutes past 12:30. We'll go into overtime and finish up the book of Jasher, chapter 80. But once again, I've got to take a music break, and we'll be right back, right here on blogtalkradio.com.
I wanna call my home. Study war no more, live in shalom. Only 144,000 of Jacob will make it in. It's Christ your friend, no need to pretend. Here's the question: did you walk in faith or did you walk in sin? Did you keep the law or did you pick and choose? Did you tell the truth about who's the real Jew? There's no excuse, you had the truth, but you closed the book and turned on the news. And when Christ breaks the sky, every satellite will fall from space, hit the earth and die, and then right after disaster from the master. Puzzle faces looking for the rapture. True, the day that Christ provides birth so they can partake heaven here on earth.
American dream, a family, a dog, a picket fence, and a house that is clean. That's through the happiness is envy and strife. The root of evil is money, it ain't the most highway. 144,000 will bask in his glory. Life is an apartment building cause there's more than one story. I accepted the most high, and what was I on? Data past like Mike, and I'm the future like LeBron. I follow the commandments cause the most high said so. Red Bull and Xbox will get your wings in a halo. My people is blind, and it's making me sick. Just because you repent ain't putting you on that list. Ain't no cutting in line, ain't no paying the dough, man. Don't matter if you're rich or whether you're poor, man. If you obedient and you're filled with the faith, then the upper room will be your final resting place, and that's heaven.
The throne of the Father, you still sinning? don't even bother. You not going if you follow Sean Carter. A little Wayne, he another Carter. Came from Obama back to Jimmy Carter. America not Babylon, it's just a daughter. Told us looking bitches that shine like 3/4. Son's gon' die, you make it call a martyr. Don't elevate your mind, let it cross expansion. I want a room in a heavenly mansion. Don't try to figure it out, your path, don't let it do you. You can play it back, I'm not trying to confuse you. Poetical prophet, truth that be the gifted. Cerebral technician, the microphone, I lift it. Thinking you can take to get in, you can save it. Signing off quad to 6-foot David.
Let me tell you what it feel like. Real right, so I'm back in the feel like. Examine yourself before the judge come in the heat of the night like O'Connor. So I'm gonna show you how to live it when I spit it through the spirit. Hope you feel it. This is the spirit that teaches when you hear it. So when it's death there, the death there. So don't step there. But self-rearrange and let the most high change my brother. That's what I utter with them dead bone pain. Eat them, the strange fruit that used to hang. Now I'm spitting out truth for the youth to change. To see us like heaven. When them guns down, when the word is your weapon and the Lord to your weapon. Not Baal, but I mastered in heaven. And there's no more jails for the nation, that's heaven. That's heaven. Heaven.
And welcome back to the Let's Talk show, brought to you by the Men Empowered Organization right here on Blog Talk Radio. Whenever we are here, the number to call is 347-205-9271. No, 347-205-9279. It's late. It's late, and we are now going into overtime. And like to thank for those who will be leaving us and not sticking around on overtime, but we've got one more chapter to go, which will only take just a few minutes. And for those of you all who are listening on your computers or on the phone, if you leave us and try to come back in, Blog Talk Radio will not let you come in whenever we're on overtime. So just want to let you know that bit of information, but we are here tomorrow night as well. We're going to go into chapter 81 on, also for those of you all who are in the greater Law and Hattiesburg, Mississippi, don't forget our commentary every Thursday on 92.1 WJMG, the original Urban FM, our 15-minute commentary. And we'll be here again tomorrow night. If you didn't catch it on the local channel here on tomorrow, we will have that commentary right here on our broadcast tomorrow night, late night at 11:30 p.m. Yes, it's late. But just want to send some shout outs to everyone who are listening here in Mississippi, saying hello to all my brothers and sisters there in the greater New Orleans area. Also want to say hello to everyone in the West Coast. I know this agrees with you of us being up late because your time zone, you're 2 hours behind. So shout outs to everyone right there in the greater Los Angeles area. Also want to say hello to everyone in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, as well as Greensboro and High Point, North Carolina. Thank you for your calls. Thank you for your emails. We do read them, and yes, we do take this ministry serious. All right. Now, the last chapter of the Book of Jasher, we're speaking of the children of Israel and their descendants who are in the earth today. I want to just kind of give a few out. Most of y'all who are in the urban neighborhoods are saying, Why are all these Mexicans here in the neighborhood? But do you know that those are your brothers? Yes, those Mexicans are your brothers. We have the same father. I'm not talking about spiritually made. I'm talking about the same blood. If they say, like if we were on the Murray show and it will say, we looked at the blood records and you are the father of this child. Well, it goes for the children of Israel. The 12 tribes of Israel have the same father. All right? Our father is Jacob, and his father is Isaac, and Isaac's father is Abraham. All right, who the people are that I'm speaking of? I'm speaking of the Mexicans in our neighborhood, and that is the tribe of Issachar. I said earlier, if you want to find who are the tribes of Israel, that goes to Genesis chapter 49. Also, who is the tribe of Gad? Who are their descendants here in the earth today? The tribe of Gad are your Native American Indians in this country today, in North America as well as parts of Central and South America, but primarily in North America. All right. Who these Negroes? They call themselves the brothers. They call themselves black. They call themselves bro. They call them by an attribute of hip hop. Who are these Negroes, the blacks, the African Americans? Where are they in the Bible? Well, your African Americans today, according to the Bible now, not according to man's fable ideals, Reader Digest type thing, according to the Bible, the African American Negroes here in North America, which primarily is U.S. and Canada, is the tribe of Judah. If you want to know who the tribe of Ephraim are your black Puerto Ricans, as well as the tribe of Manasseh is your black Cubans. And the tribe of Levi are your Haitians today that are in Haiti. The tribe of Asher are the Argentinians, the Brazilians. And the tribe of Zebulun is your Panamanians. The tribe of Simeon, your Dominicans in the Dominican Republic. The tribe of Reuben, their descendants today are the Aborigines of Australia, and in Florida, your Seminole Indians. That is the tribe of Reuben, the firstborn of Jacob. The tribe of Naphtali, those are your Hawaiians, or you know them as your Pacific Islanders. And one that we can relate to, everybody trying to find out, is he black or white or what is he? You know, remember the guy that is a wrestler, The Rock? The one with the eyebrow lifting up? Well, he is from the tribe of Naphtali, the Pacific Islanders, if you want to know exactly. These are the descendants of Jacob. Now, Isaac's children, Isaac had two sons. He had Jacob and he had his firstborn Esau. Esau represents Edom, Esau's kingdom, the Edomites, or you can say your Caucasian race here. This is Esau. Now, I kind of give you the players of Jasher as well as Genesis. The last chapter of Jasher, chapter 80. Let's see what Moses says to Pharaoh. Now, you know Pharaoh is an Egyptian. The Egyptians are black people, as well as the Israelites are black mixed people. All these people served in slavery in Egypt. The Mexicans, the native Indians, Those were the northern tribe of Israel. So all these tribes, all these sons had children, and now they are known as the children of Israel. And to kind of give you a future tense of what's happening, kind of giving you a sidebar, yes, we were the ones that occupied Israel, but we are not the people that are in Israel today. Those are people through conversion, Khazar Jews. They are not Hebrew Israelites. That's like me switching my religion to the Nation of Islam. My nationality is Hebrew Israelite. We have the bloodline here in America. So if you ever wonder why the Mexicans are in your neighborhood, well, guess again, they are your brothers. Right. If I can say, like Murray said, you are this father's child. So, Jasher chapter 80, verse 1. And at the end of 2 years, the Most High again sent Moses to Pharaoh to bring forth the children of Israel and to send them out of the land of Egypt. Now see, this Pharaoh is getting kind of hard-headed. He don't want to listen to nobody. So therefore, he's going to endure times. He's going to endure some hard times, just like this country did when it went through a civil war. Yes. Do you think that the Civil War happened by chance here in America between the North and South? No, that was instrumental by the Most High God to set free the children of Israel right here in America. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 68. Go on record with that. I've got the evidence. Moving right along. Verse 2, and Moses went and came to the house of Pharaoh, and he spoke to him the words of the Most High, who had sent him. But Pharaoh would not hearken to the voice of the Most High, and the Most High roused his might in Egypt upon Pharaoh and his subjects, and the Most High smote Pharaoh and his people with very great and sore plagues. See, plagues came upon the children of Egypt, who is Ham's children. Cush, Libya, those are all Ham's. Verse 3, and the Most High sent by the hand of Aaron and turned all the waters of Egypt into blood, with all their streams and rivers. Can't drink a glass of water. If you an Egyptian, shame on you. Verse 4, and when an Egyptian came to drink and draw water, he looked into his pitcher, and behold, all the water had turned into blood. And when he came to drink from his cup, the water in the cup became blood. Verse 5, and when a woman kneaded her dough and cooked her victuals, their appearance was turned to that of blood. Verse 6, and the Most High sent again and caused all their water to bring forth frogs, and all the frogs came into the house of the Egyptians. This to us is like snakes coming into your house. Oh man, and you know how I feel about snakes, and everybody else how they feel about snakes. Verse 7, and when the Egyptians drank, their bellies were filled with frogs. Oh my. And they danced in their bellies as they danced when in the river. Oh wow. Frogs jumping up and down in your stomach. Oh man. Well, we know who were the first to eat frogs. It wasn't the residents of New Orleans eating frog legs. It was the Egyptians in Egypt during ancient times back then eating frogs, but this was not by voluntary. This was involuntary. They drank it and they got frogs in their stomachs. Verse 8, and all their drinking water and cooking water turned to frogs. Also when they lay in their beds, their perspiration. All praises to the Most High. How serious are you going to keep the people enslaved and you got all this going on? Their preparation bred frogs. When you sweat, frogs all over your body. Verse 9, notwithstanding all this, the anger of the Most High did not turn from them, and his hand was stretched out against all the Egyptians, and smite them with every heavy plague. Verse 10, and he sent and smote the dust in there, and the lice became in Egypt to the height of 2 cubits upon the earth. That's a lot of lice. Verse 11, the lice were also very numerous in the flesh of man and beast, in all the inhabitants of Egypt. Also upon the king and queen of the Lord sent the lice, and it grieved Egypt exceedingly on account of lice. Verse 12, notwithstanding this, the anger of the Most High did not turn away, and his hand was still stretched out over Egypt. Now, that's kind of saying that, is the Lord going to send you a hurricane and afflict you for persecuting his chosen one, the children here in America? That's like sending that hurricane to warn you that you need to straighten up and fly right. But the people of Esau in this country still don't get it. Verse 12, notwithstanding this, the anger of the Most High did not turn away, and his hand was still stretched out over Egypt. Verse 13, and the Most High sent all kinds of beasts of the field into Egypt, and they came and destroyed all Egypt, man and beast and trees, and all things that were in Egypt. Verse 14, and the Most High sent fiery serpents, scorpions, mice, weasels, toads, together with other creepy in the dust, flies, hornets, fleas, bugs, and gnats. Each swarmed around to its kind. Verse 16, and all reptiles and wiggle animals according to their kind came to Egypt and grieved the Egyptians exceedingly. Now something got to happen when all this kind of drama is going on, because you won't let your labor force, the Egyptians, leave. And the fleas and flies came into the eyes and ears of the Egyptians. That's like saying when you ride your motorbike, all these gnats and flies and everything, bugs just getting in your face because you riding an open-aired helmet, no shield. Imagine the bugs flying in your face and going into your mouth and going into your nostrils. Let's move on. I don't want to talk about that no more. And the hornets came, verse 18, and the hornets came upon them and drove them away, and they removed from it into their inner rooms, and it pursued them. Verse 19, and when the Egyptians hid themselves on account of the swarm of animals, they locked their doors after them. And the Most High God ordered the Sulanat, which was in the sea, to come up and go into Egypt. Verse 20, and she had long arms, 10 cubits in length, of the cubit of a man. See, the Most High is using what we call nature to get our attention here in Egypt. He did it before, he can do it again, because the Most High God does not change. Verse 21, and she went up on the roof and uncovered the rafting and flooring and cut them, and stretched forth her arm into the house and removed the lock and the bolt and opened the house of Egypt. Verse 22. Now this is not happening to the children of Israel. This is only happening to the Egyptians. Verse 22. Afterward came the swarm of animals into the house of Egypt, and the swarm of animals destroyed the Egyptians, and it grieved them exceedingly. Verse 23, notwithstanding this, The anger of the Most High God did not turn away from the Egyptians, and his hand was yet stretched forth against them. Verse 24, and the Most High God sent the pestilence, and the pestilence prevailed Egypt in the horses and the asses, and in the camels, and the herbs of oxen and sheep, and in man. And when the Egyptians rose up early in the morning to take their cattle to pasture, they found all their cattle dead. Oh my. Verse 26, and they remained, and there remained the cattle of the Egyptians only, 1 in 10. And of the cattle belonging to Israel in Goshen, not one died. Verse 27, and the Most High God sent a burning inflammation in the flesh of the Egyptians, which burst their skin, and it became a severe itch in all the Egyptians from the soles of their feet to the crowns of their head. Can you imagine having this itch on your body from the feet all the way to your head, sores everywhere? Is that enough to convince you that the Most High mean business? Verse 28, and many boils were in their flesh, that their flesh wasted away until they became rotten. Notwithstanding this, the anger of the Lord did not turn away, and his hand was still stretched out over all Egypt. Verse 30, and the Most High sent a very heavy hail, which smote their vines and broke their fruit trees and dried them up, that they fell upon them. Verse 31, also every green herb became dry and perished, for a mingling fire descended amidst the hail. Therefore the hail and the fire consumed all things. So what's happening in the West Coast with all these fires going on in the forest, destroying all these homes? Is the Most High God trying to get the United States attention? Now you know this is only happening in the world, in our country, not in Canada, but only in our country. Now I'm gonna give you a history lesson. Canada did not in history have a slave history, because they did not allow slaves. Only in America did we enslave the children of Israel, who are who you call the African American blacks here in America. So all this drama is happening in your country, and you still call it the greatest country on earth. The reason why it is the greatest country on earth, according to you, is because the presence of the Israelites is still here in this country. This is why the United States, the so-called United States of America, is still alive and well today. Not because of our forefathers, who were all Masons, who were all satanic Masons. And we'll get to that and look into crime scene investigation. But just kind of want to give you to have your mind and start thinking and look at the clues. Now, if I was a police officer, I would look into a lot of this, because I've got evidence here. I've got evidence here, evidence there. That's what police officers do. You see these detectives on CSI and everything else, they go in, they find evidence. Well, the Bible is your evidence. What more do you need to give you the truth? Moving right along, verse 30, also men and beasts that were found abroad perished of the flames of the fire and of the hail, and all the young lions were exhausted. 33, and the Most High sent and brought numerous locusts into Egypt, the chazines, salams, the cargons, just insects, locusts everywhere, chargon, locusts, each of its kind, which devour all that the hail had left remaining. Verse 34, then the Egyptians rejoiced at the locusts, although they consumed the produce of the field, and they caught them in abundance and salted them for food. Eating locusts, wow, how low can you go? Verse 35, and the Most High turned a mighty wind of the sea, which took away all the locusts, even those that were salted, and thrust them into the Red Sea, and no one locust remained within the boundaries of Egypt. Verse 36, and the Most High God sent darkness upon Egypt, that the whole land of Egypt and Pathros became dark for 3 days, so that a man could not see his hand when he lifted it to his mouth. Now that's dark. Verse 37, and at that time died many of the people of Israel who had rebelled against the Most High. Now, if you're not in the covenant of obeying the Most High, this does not protect you. Verse 37 again, at that time died many of the people of Israel who had rebelled against the Most High and who would not hearken to Moses and Aaron, and believed not in them that the Most High had sent them. Verse 38, and who had said, we will not go forth from Egypt lest we perish with hunger in a desolate wilderness, and who would not hearken to the voice of Moses. Verse 39, and the Most High plagued them in the 3 days of darkness, and the Israelites buried them in those days, without the Egyptians knowing of them or rejoicing over them. Verse 40, and the darkness was very great in Egypt for 3 days, and any person who was standing when the darkness came remained standing in his place, and he that was sitting remained sitting, and he that was laying continued lying in the same state, and he that was walking remained sitting up on the ground in the same spot. And this thing happened to all the Egyptians until the darkness had passed away. Verse 41, and I know it's late, but I've got a question or comment from our caller right here in Mississippi. Let's see if we can open his mic up. Shalom, caller. You have a question or comment. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Area code 601. You're on the air. Okay, maybe he must have punched that by mistake. All right, moving right along. Verse 41. And the days of darkness passed away, and the Most High sent Moses and Aaron to the children of Israel, saying, celebrate your feast and make your Passover, and behold, I come in the midst of the night among all the Egyptians, and I will smite all their firstborn, from the firstborn of a man to the firstborn of a beast. And when I see your Passover, I will pass over you. That's why the Passover is very important for us to put that in remembrance. We're just about through, everybody. We've got 63 verses. We're on verse 42. And the children of Israel, and I'll try not to elaborate. I get so excited when I read the book of Jasher because I have a lot of understanding now, because they try to delete this information from us. And the children of Israel did according to all that the Most High had commanded Moses and Aaron. Thus did they in that night. Verse 43, and it came to pass in the middle of the night that the Most High went forth in the midst of Egypt and smote all the firstborn of the Egyptians, from the firstborn of man to the firstborn of beast. 44, and Pharaoh rose up in the night, all his servants and all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry throughout Egypt in that night, for there was not a house in which there was not a corpse. Verse 45. Also the likeness of the firstborn of Egypt, which were carved in the walls at their house, were destroyed and fell to the ground. Verse 46. Even the bones of their firstborn who had died before this, and whom they had buried in their house, were raked up by the dogs of Egypt on that night, and dragged before the Egyptians and cast before them. Verse 47, and all the Egyptians saw this evil which had suddenly come upon them, and all the Egyptians cried out with a loud voice. 48, and all the families of Egypt wept upon that night, each man for his son, and each man for his daughter, being the firstborn. And the tumult of Egypt was heard. 49. And Bathia, the daughter of Pharaoh, went forth with the king on that night to seek Moses and Aaron in their house. And they found them in their house, eating and drinking and rejoicing with all Israel. Verse 50. And Bathia said to Moses, is this the reward for the good which I have done to thee, who have reared thee and stretched thee out, and thou hast brought this evil upon me and my father's house? Verse 51, and Moses said to her, surely 10 plagues did the Most High bring. That's right. He brought forth 10 plagues, and Pharaoh still did not hearken to the voice of the Most High and let the children of Israel get the hell out of Egypt. If all this is going on and Moses told me this is what's happening, why you were not having success right now in Egypt, I would say get the hell out of Egypt. Or in my Martin voice, I would say get to stepping. Verse 51. And Moses said to her, surely 10 plagues did the Most High bring upon Egypt. Evil occur to thee from any of them. Did one of them affect thee? And she said, no. 52. And Moses said to her, although thou art the firstborn of thy mother, thou shalt not die, and no evil shall reach thee in the midst of Egypt. All praises to the Most High, because he says, I will bless those that bless you, Israel, and I will curse those that curse you, Israel. We are the 12 tribes of Israel here in the Americas. Verse 53, and she said, what advantage is it to me when I see the king, my brother, and all his household and subjects in this evil, whose firstborn perish with all the firstborn of Egypt? Verse 54, and Moses said to her, surely thy brother and his household and subjects, the families of Egypt, would not hearken to the words of the Most High God. Therefore did this evil come upon them. Verse 55, and Pharaoh, king of Egypt, Moses and Aaron, and some of the children of Israel who were with them in that place, and he prayed to them, saying, 56, rise up and take your brethren, all the children of Israel who are in the land, with their sheep and oxen, and all belonging to them. They shall leave nothing remain. Only pray for me to the Most High your God. 57, and Moses said to Pharaoh, behold, though thou art thy mother's firstborn, yet fear not, for thou wilt not die. For the Most High God has commanded that thou shalt live, in order to show thee his great might and strong stretch out arm. Verse 58, and Pharaoh ordered the children of Israel to be sent away, and all the Egyptians strengthened themselves to send them, for they said, we are all perishing. Verse 59, And all the Egyptians sent the Israelites forth with great riches, sheep and oxen, and piercing things, according to the oath of the Most High between him and our father Abraham. Verse 60, and the children of Israel delayed going forth at night. And when the Egyptians came to them to bring them out, they said to them, are we thieves that we should go forth at night? Verse 61, and the children of Israel asked of the Egyptians vessels of silver and vessels of gold and garment, and the children of Israel stripped the Egyptians. Verse 62, and Moses hastened and rose up and went to the river of Egypt and brought up from the coffin of Joseph and took it with him. Verse 63, the children of Israel also brought up each man his father's coffins with him, and each man the coffin of his tribe. This is the end of Jasher chapter 80. This is the end of our show. And if you have any questions or comment while we are here for the next few seconds, press 1 on your phone and we'll open it up for you for a quick question or comment. Well, we will be back here again at 11:30 p.m. Central Standard Time for chapter 81 of the Book of Jasher. The Book of Jasher, like I said before, is mentioned in Joshua chapter 10, verse 1, and in 2 Samuel chapter 1, verse 18. So this is the end of our show, and it was very enriching. So since we don't have any questions or comment, we're going to go ahead and sign off. My name is Brother Malachi right here on Blog Talk Radio. As always, it has been a pleasure to serve the Most High God, and may his Son continue to bless you for spilling his blood, and all praises unto him, Yeshua, which means my Christ, my Savior in Hebrew, Yeshua. Okay, and we're going to talk about the names during CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, beginning November the 21st. We will investigate those particular topics that I mentioned. Well, that's going to do it all for me, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Shalom to Israel, saying hello to the blessed Gentiles that are obeying the word of the Most High. Join us again tomorrow, and we will see you right here on Blog Talk Radio. And I'm going to send you out right now with Clarity and Rare Jewels talking about the struggle. Shalom.
You don't understand. See, you don't get it.
People don't understand, man.
I'm a free man. I don't mean just out of jail. I am
They just don't
free at
understand.
last.
Corey Jackson, man. More magic ever. How many more, man? My brother. We gotta get out of stop, man. We gotta get free.
I have
Gotta put a stop to it. We gotta get free, man. Gotta get free. We can't keep doing this to us.
my time.
This tale is ill, the autobiographic is real, so I share it from deep in my memory film. 11/40/35 inscribed on his khaki suit. I set it cross from my brother, trapped in his cell room. Different families around, attempting to heal wounds. Conversation by the hour for dark souls to soothe. But this case is different, it's hella treacherous niggas. Cowards my brother trusted that became his false witness. Picture this, a small town, locale with southern state, and that serves as the framework that outlines the case. The murder took place, victim of another race. She had status and spoke to governors face to face. More fuel for the flames of supremacy and hate that blacks will never escape without God's grace. On the court date, they brought him in shackled, he took the stand. Third black boy being charged for death by one hand. An argument in another state that wouldn't have a chance. But the Commonwealth of Kentucky is a southern land that still got problems with brothers from the motherland. They judge us not by character, but by skin. But in this case, it was one Negro head. They said similar to his in the car when she disappeared. Funny how many black
got similar hair. We unlucky, evidence they use when they argue their trial, but never tested DNA and put it on file. It's all foul and wow, 50 years they gave him. Throughout trial, never showed his involvement with the playing. Just hearsay from inmates and the main suspect.
You don't understand. You don't get it. I'm a free man, and I don't mean just out of jail. I am free at last.
Gotta get free, man. Be more substantial evidence, man. Testimonies from local bums in a segregated city is the evidence they use to convince the jury committee. But really, that's only the second level of injustice. The first level was the lie detector test they shuffled. The main suspect failed too. But detectives lied to the judge to get a warrant through. For who? You guessed it, my brother's name in the loop. The table now set for Southern hospitality soup, and they be cooking black boys by ones and groups. Straight out their youth, they stamp them by stretching the truth. But don't get it twisted, I hate anything that's corrupt. But when the government is guilty, tell me who can you trust? Now 14 of the 50 years my brother is done, and never had nothing to do with the death of the gun, but was violently prosecuted by a snake with a tongue. No wonder we burn with hatred like the rage of the sun. I'm over here.
Let me ensure that I am through walking on the wild side. That's all I've been trying to tell you. I have been sick with the social ills,